I'm Zeta Kai for the Gunpla Network, and this time we're going to be looking at something a little different. So this is a third-party figure based on the historical figure of Date Masamune. Now, if you're unfamiliar with him, he was a famous general during the feudal period in Japan, the Edo period more specifically. He was a real person. He was known for his half-moon headpiece, having one eye, and having a lot of bravado. He's also kind of been turned into a historical myth, as many historical figures do. And this particular figure really seems to draw a lot of inspiration from the representation of Date Masamune from the anime Sengoku Basara, which is actually a lot of fun to watch. So this figure is kind of very loosely based on the 1/100th full mechanic of the Gundam Vidar. And there's actually a lot of parallels between the pilot of the Vidar, Guy Leo, and Date Masamune. They both were kind of betrayed. They both have a scar over their eye. They both have a pretty big ego. And this figure is kind of loosely based on this model kit. There have been some resin kits that are like add-on kits to the 1/100 Vidar that make it look like this particular figure. And maybe this figure really drew a lot of its scientific research, you might say, from that resin cast. But this is a fully built metal framed complete figure. It's said to be 1/72nd scale, and it is gigantic. Here is the Turn X Master Grade box, and it is dwarfed by the Date Masamune figure. This is from the company Devil Hunter. This is the DH01, and the box art is absolutely stunning. I picked this up from the Gunpla Hermit's shop. It cost me about $86, and as we'll go through the review, you'll find that I think that it's well worth the price. So you see here Date Masamune. You see the emblem for his clan, Clan Date, the Date clan, whichever way you want to say that. Here you can see it again. I don't know exactly what the Japanese writing is here. Maybe you can translate it. I couldn't find a translation, although some of it really looks like the same from that earlier image of Date Masamune from Sengoku Basara. So you open it up, you have two little plates, two little clamshell pieces here. One contains the main figure and the sashimono, the like banners that they would carry, and his scabbards. I know that's not the right word for the katanas. And the figure is very, very nice. It's protected well by the packaging, so you don't have to worry about it getting damaged in shipping or anything like that. I know sometimes with some of these figures it's a little tricky, but not so in this case. And then the other little box contains all of the accessories. And there are a ton of them. Alternate hands for the little pistols, alternate hands for holding the katanas or the swords, all 6 of the swords. And then you also get these really cool extra hands that have him holding 3 swords per hand, and some other bits and pieces here will have to like kind of snap onto the figure. All in all, a very good presentation in the shipping. So like I said, you do have to attach some things. There's this little clip here for the back skirt. It's a very tiny attachment for such a gigantic back skirt. It's probably the one thing that continuously fell off during the review process here, but really the only thing that I found that was super loose. In fact, the backpack part is super, super tight. Very hard to actually put that on. You have to work. There's a lot of paint in there, I guess, is what is making that happen. So like, again, the scabbards here for the sides, I'm just going to call them scabbards. They pop on via little pegs here, and then the banners go on to the backpack as well. They are also very, very tight, very securely held in there. And once you're done, you get a very impressive looking figure. The painting on this figure is immaculate. It's near perfect. I could find very, very few imperfections. In fact, I don't think any imperfections really stood out to me as far as the painting and the sculpting work that was done with this figure. It is very, very good. I was very concerned about that being like a third-party figure, as to whether or not the details would be there and be finely represented, but they really, really are. The paint used is beautiful, very metallic. The metallic blue, the super glossy black, the gold, the vibrant white, it all looks great. Okay, let's take a look at articulation. It's actually quite good. It's not mind-blowing, but it's very, very good. So the head can move around quite a bit, which is saying a lot because the helm here is very large, but it does a lot, and it's not super loose, it's not super tight, it's very good. So the shoulder armor can go up and down, and this little flat piece can move around. I thought this would become very loose, but it really hasn't. The shoulders are very interesting. There's a lot going on in the shoulders. There's like a joint in toward the body, and then there's another joint out toward the arm, and then there's a third joint at the end of the arm, that little like round piece at the top of the arm. It has a bicep cut. It has a ratcheting joint out and in, which is very nice. There's a lot of ratcheting joints on this kit, which is good because there is a lot of weight to this kit. I'm a little concerned about this cut joint, the swivel joint. I feel as though it would get loose over time. The elbows move, they are also ratcheted, and while they're not double jointed, they do give you enough articulation. The wrists swivel around, and you get a good waist joint. The waist joint isn't amazing, but there's a lot of die-cast metal in there, and you really don't want it to be too loose and floppy with all of the weight from the kit, or the figure, I guess. So it's good. These rather obtrusive side and back and front skirts actually get out of the way very nicely. It looks kind of weird with them moved out of the way like this, but they aren't ungainly. They're just large. The hip joints are very nice, a lot of forward and back, and a nice ratcheting motion as you get them to spread out to the side. That's very much appreciated because, again, the weight of the kit, you don't want those legs splaying out when you don't want them to. The knees are double jointed, each joint having a ratchet. They are a little bit cumbersome to work with because there's a lot of armor there, but it's a good amount of articulation. The ankles are ratcheted forward and back, and the heels do this weird side-to-side thing. I wish there was a little more ankle rocker to get more of a spread wide stance, but it's going to be really tricky to do with all the armor in the foot. The backpack has some articulation. It's pretty basic. It's plain plastic. There's not a whole lot you can do with a backpack, but it moves around a little bit. All right, let's take a closer look at these accessories and how they work. So first up are the pistols. You can see the very nicely painted details all over the place here. I think this is just molded in one color, and then all the gold and silver is paint apps. You get the very nice swords. They all look great. There's a nub mark on like one or two of them, but you get 6, so it's fine. And then you get these very cool looking 3 sword hands. You get a right and a left, so you get 2 of these, and they are amazing. These are the pistol holding hands right here. I'll show you how those work in a moment. And these are the regular holding things hands. You pop them apart to put the katanas in. Same thing with the pistol holding hands. You pop these in half, and kind of they have this tab sticking out of the thumb in kind of an awkward way. But there's a slot on the back of the pistol, and it's super tight, very secure, and looks great. It's a very, very good molding process. I know there's a lot of like third-party figures and kits that have a difficult time with their accessories. Not so with this kit, or this figure, sorry. All of the accessories work very well with it. And you can definitely get some very impressive poses with the pistols. Very samurai Wild West kind of crossover, which I guess there's a lot of parallels there to begin with. And of course you can utilize the articulation to get you into some cool poses. So we'll take a look at the katanas, the swords. They go into the scabbard pieces very nicely. You do have to kind of put them in a certain order. I forget if it's top to bottom or bottom to top, but make sure you do it that way, and they'll all slide in there. It's loose enough that you're not going to worry about scratching the paint, but tight enough that you're not going to worry about them constantly falling out. They will fall out if you like tip the figure forward, but for any pose or any type of action, they work just fine. And you can do some really nice things with the flexibility that affords you, the way that they are inserted into their holders. And of course you can put one in each hand. It's too bad that there isn't just a little bit more mobility. I guess the mobility isn't really the issue. It's the hands. The hands are molded to hold one sword. That's the way that they're designed. The swords are designed to be held by one hand. So I tried to do like some very iconic two-handed sword poses, like some real samurai stuff. And this is about the best approximation that I could come up with. I used the open expressive hand to kind of fake him holding two hands. There's no way you can get two hands on the sword, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I'm spending way too much time talking about it. But it looks great. Everything about this figure is great. You can see here like the blue lacing on the shoulder armor. It's so nice. It really is very, very good. I'm going to say it's Bandai level. It's just as good as a Bandai MetalBuild, Metal Robot Damashi, even the Verka ones. I think the paint applications are just as good as one of those, which is really saying something. These three sword hands are so much fun to play around with. I don't know how much time I spent like trying to get this into different poses and doing different things with those three sword hands. It's so cool. And you can do one a piece if you'd like. Really, this figure like exudes like edginess and just has such a cool factor. It speaks to my heart. I love it. I absolutely love this figure. And we'll take it one look with the banners attached to the back here with some size comparisons. So this is the Master Grade Turn A and the Master Grade Shinmusha Sengoku no Jin version. I picked the Turn A because it's like one of the tallest standard Master Grades, and you can see this figure towers over it. It also dwarfs the real grade RX-78-2, not even coming up to its hip. That's probably the biggest thing with this figure, is like getting it to fit in with your other kits. If you have a lot of Bandai model kits, it's gonna kind of be in this weird spot where it doesn't really fit. It's a little too large for 1/100th and a little too small for 1/60th. This is the Glorious Series. Oh no, HY2M Rickdom. Anyway, the kit's super solid. It is very well put together, very well engineered, and brought to life in a careful way. You can tell that the creators of this figure cared about the product they were making. They weren't just trying to just produce some other thing that would allow them to take advantage of the Gundam fandom. They wanted to make something that they could be proud of, and I think they succeeded with this figure. I can't say enough great things about it. I am going to be buying at least one, maybe two more. They're continuing to announce. They must be very successful because they keep announcing more and more of these. So if you like what you see here, let me know down below. We can do more reviews of this kind of thing in the future. I know this is nominally the Gunpla network, and this isn't a model kit, it is a figure. So if you like what you see and you'd like to see more of it, let us know. We'll do what we can. We're trying not to dominate the channel with a whole bunch of toys and figures, but this one was just kind of cool. So continue to subscribe to the Gunpla Network for all kinds of great things. Make sure you check out our website, gunplanetwork.com, for some really cool articles, and check out all of our different sponsors, CanadianGundam.com, Side 7 Exports, HobbyLink Japan, and what's the Australian one? Hobbyco? Sorry, I just always forget that one. Anyway, keep building and keep playing around with your figures and have fun with this hobby. See you guys later.